Hi, everyone. I'm Christine Tully, President and Executive Writing Coach at Defend, Publish, and Lead, and welcome to episode 237, New Year Academic Writing Goals. Every academic year, many of us set new goals for how we want to approach our teaching and what new class preps we have, maybe what committees we're looking at, some new projects we want to undertake. But one of the things that I see happening with academics is that we don't always look at our writing habits and our projects and just kind of fine tune for the next academic year. We've talked about this in many of our semester episodes where we figure out how much writing is happening and how many hours we're spending on writing per week and things like that. But for this episode, I want to talk about really looking at big picture goals. And in service of this, we do have an event coming up in early August about setting your new year, your new academic writing year goals. And I will put that up on the screen for those of you that are looking at this on YouTube. You can see all of our events on Eventbrite. So these are free webinars. For that one, it is Monday, August 4th at 11 a.m. Eastern. And we're recording this in 2025. So if you want to join us for that one, it's free and you can come set some goals. But prior to getting to that point, as we put out this episode in mid-July, one of the things I like to think about is that the academic year has not started yet. There's plenty of time to just take a little bit of time and reflect on how it went last year. Did you always run behind on getting writing projects completed? Most of us have this problem. Is it more of a fact that you start out strong with writing, but then as soon as you get a heavy grading load coming in, then the writing drops off the map? Or you wait too long to get started on writing. So one typical thing that I see all the time is many, at least US faculty, don't start working on writing projects until after Labor Day. But I would argue if a lot of our semesters started mid-August, we're losing some of that new academic year energy. And we're now 2 or 3 weeks into the semester where then the grading starts stacking up. So one of the strategies that I recommend all the time is to make sure that you're writing the first week of class, because at least the first week of class, you're not getting that writing in yet. And hopefully you're prepared for class and you're not doing it at the last minute. So here's some big picture things that I would take a look at that happened last year that can help you really revisit how you want to approach writing in the new year. So one of the things I would look at is just decide how many projects did I actually get completed last year? How many new CV lines could I add? What progress did I make on maybe a long-term project? So not completion isn't always the goal. Sometimes we're just working on a chapter at a time. We're not getting the whole project completed in a given semester. But I just take stock. Did you publish anything last year? Do you need to? For some of us that listen to this podcast, some of you are faculty developers and you're helping other faculty do this work. So, maybe look at the people that you're helping in writing groups. Are they putting out some new work? Are people completing projects? For some people, they'll discover another year has gone by and maybe there's still that half completed article, or you still have not worked on making your dissertation into some publications or a book. And that's, at this point, it is what it is. So at Defend, Publish, and Lead, we're very big on not, guilt tripping anyone into not writing or anything like that. But that's why I sort of like the mid to late July period to just look before the next year. What are some things that you want to improve? So one of the things that I look at when I work with clients that want to set this up is to figure out how many hours are they writing a week? And is that realistically enough to get some work done? A lot of times it is. Even 5 hours a week, even 3 hours a week can be great for completing projects, because it's not always the amount of time you're putting in, it's how you're actually using that time. But just kind of taking a look. Because it could be that you are scheduling enough writing time in there, but for whatever reason, either you're not meeting your obligations because that time gets interrupted, or you're not really sure what you're supposed to be working on, or you're waiting too long before you're getting into a new project for some reason. So there's all kinds of reasons why maybe that writing time isn't working efficiently. So it could be that you have enough time, but you're not getting a lot of work done. But it also could be that you don't have enough time slotted in there. You really did not devote the time to writing that you probably need to complete whatever your goals are. Some of us, have to complete things for tenure and promotion. Other people are working on projects that they want to get completed in the next academic year. So I would look a little bit at the time bucket just to see, before I start this next academic year, do I need to increase how much time I'm spending per week? Am I okay at the number I have? Do I need to decrease? Because for some people, they're used to, for example, let's say you're on sabbatical, you're a dissertation student. Some people are putting in 20 to 25 hours a week. That might be too much now, and you have to pull back. And so this is also a time where I like to look at what classes do I have and figure out how much time could I even realistically devote to it. So usually I try to shoot between 8 and 10 hours a week. That's just what I try to do. This fall semester for me is particularly busy, so I know I will have to pull back a little bit and go to like 6 to 8 hours a week. So one of the things that I'll be looking at a little bit as I think about the new academic year is, what projects do I realistically want to complete, can complete, should complete, and just looking at that matchup with the time I have available. So that's one of the things that I'll look at for a new goal. A second thing that I will look at is just to think back to how my writing sessions went. Did I find them stressful? Were they jammed into a time that really wasn't workable and I really should try to find another time during the year? Any kind of fine tuning like that often is a good tweak to think about in July before all the stuff gets put on your schedule for the fall. It's already happening to me, so it may be already happening to you. And one thing that you can do just to help yourself a little bit is to block out any time that looks ideal for writing right now that no one has taken off of your calendar. So, one thing that I'm paying particular attention to now is just looking at, what is the rhythm of some of my work days? Where are my classes? Where are the ideal slots for writing? And I'm trying to block those out, just remembering that I'm trying to get in 6 to 8 hours a week. So that's the second thing I'm doing, is just kind of looking at, okay, what are some good times? Let's start blocking them. A third thing that I'm doing when I'm thinking about a new academic goal is I'm trying to think through, what are some larger pieces of writing or a writing life that I really want to have in there? So here's what I mean by that. There are a lot of resources out there, podcasts, books on writing, blogs on academic writing, and so on. And so one thing that I'm thinking through now is to try to have some way that I'm getting some writing inspiration per week. So I haven't figured out how I'm going to do that. I don't have an answer for it yet, but I know for me, there's lots of resources. Like, it might be a new writing blog or an academic writing blog that's out there. I've mentioned Blocks and Breakthroughs by my good friends, Beck and Chris, and they are the authors of the book Written. I'll put both of those resources in the podcast. So I know they put out stuff all the time that's really great for just thinking about writing. But for me, I want some kind of reminder about my academic writing every week that gives me a new lens to look at it and how I might want to deal with it. On that subject, many faculty developers know we're talking about our Tuesday Toolbox newsletter that will be coming out every week. So institutions or individuals can subscribe to that if you want to do that. And what it essentially is something that is new about academic writing. It is a video lesson where you can learn how to do a new academic writing technique or look at something new with your academic writing, along with some links and resources. So that's something, if you're interested in doing it, you can subscribe to it as an individual, or you could do it as an institution. I will put more details about that in the show notes for you, but that's a way that you could get something. And why I'm thinking about that for the academic year for me, but also how we distribute that information to people that are interested in Defend, Publish, and Lead, is that I know with academic writing, I can get in a rut. Like, I have habits that work and I can just kind of like plug through and do the things I want to do, but that's not really changing maybe my writing style to make it a little bit better or improving some things that maybe I'd like to improve. So I'm trying to think about it in that way. What can I do to become stronger as an academic writer? What can I do to make academic writing more enjoyable? How can I be really engaged in what I'm working on, and those sorts of things. So that's another thing that I'm trying to think through, so that, really having some way to get new content about academic writing into my work week is another goal that I'm looking at. And then a fourth thing, the final thing that I want to talk about is I really want to get a grip on how writing fits into the flow of the work week. So if I have a writing project due, I have some grading due, I have maybe something I have to create for a university committee. I know I'm using my writing time for writing. I totally understand that part. But I also have to think through those other pieces where I'm doing some writing, but it's not academic. So, for example, like writing course objectives or an assignment sheet or creating outcomes for a service committee or something like that. Those are writing tasks, and they also can be a little bit draining. So if you've already been writing, doing some scholarly writing, and then you have to do more writing in service of your teaching or your service obligations, I want to think through a little bit about how much writing is happening during the week, because I don't know about any of you, but I'm starting to get, screen fatigue, keyboard fatigue, and I'm just sitting more at my desk. And so I'm just trying to look at how the days flow along in the academic week. So if I can see that, hey, usually with teaching, by the time I get to like Wednesday, I have a lot of writing, responding to student emails, responding to discussion board posts. I have to do that kind of like teaching oriented writing. So maybe for me, I need to front load my scholarly writing for the stuff I want to do on Monday and Tuesday, and maybe, have another day like Thursday or Friday. But then I've got 2 solid work days that are just devoted to teaching tasks. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I'm just starting to think about what are things that affect my academic writing that really have nothing to do with my writing time per se, like if I have it blocked out, but they could definitely, I don't know, they definitely could affect it in terms of like screen fatigue or sitting too much and all that. So those are just some things that I'm looking at. But if you want to help do, or if you want to make your own new academic year's writing resolutions, we definitely encourage you to join us. It's a free webinar. Again, that was Monday, August 4th at 11 a.m. So I expect seats will go fairly quickly. And if you get this podcast after that free webinar is over, just email us at Christine@defendpublishedlead.com and you can get the recording. So we're happy to share it with anybody that couldn't attend. But I think it's a good way to think through how you might want to set up your goals for the academic year. So hopefully you found this helpful, and happy writing this week.